The Xbox Series X consoles are about to get a massive boost in not only performance, but also graphics. Multiple games are getting performance and graphical boosts for the next generation consoles, showing that Xbox is committed to making the Series X the best place to play your games. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up everyone? Thanks for stopping by and checking out the channel. If you enjoy the content, remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Alright, enough of that. Let's get into this pretty massive performance drop that Xbox is talking about. This was announced a few days ago, but I didn't get a chance to look into it until now. And once I saw how many games and how the boost to games works, I had to talk about it. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that I've talked about the awesome engineering that's going on from a software development perspective at Xbox right now. Yes, Sony has back compat and they have some great games getting boosts from their first-party developers, but it's nothing like what Xbox is doing and how many games they have enhanced for the Xbox Series X consoles. So let's get into what was said and what the article mentions right here. Microsoft doubled down on backward compatibility with the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, bringing forward Xbox One, Xbox 360, and original Xbox titles to its latest consoles. The company is no stranger to flexing its engineering know-how through its backward compatibility program, with various features devoted to preserving titles across new systems. FPS Boost is the latest, bringing huge performance upgrades to existing titles, often doubling frame rates with a simple toggle. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention is that we've talked about FPS Boost and all the cool features that Xbox has. I've mentioned Jason Ronald and how his work with the Xbox Series X has been vital to the longevity of the Xbox One and Xbox Series X games. Him and his team, along with the other software developers at Xbox, have worked hard to bring this amazing feature to the Xbox console. This FPS feature is the first time a console has had something that helps toggle some games to practically double the FPS performance on them. I could be wrong and this could have been something on another console, but to my knowledge, I can't remember it being this innovative. And it's something that the article explains right here. What is Xbox FPS Boost? With the arrival of the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, Microsoft debuted FPS Boost, a new system-level feature designed to bolster performance across backward-compatible titles. This trickery alters how games play with no developer input or code changes, unbinding titles from their previous locked frame rates. Whereas one title may have targeted 30 frames per second FPS on Xbox One consoles, FPS Boost tweaks it to run at 60 FPS on the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S consoles. Okay, let's stop right there because that's one crazy feature that I think could be used by a lot of people, because after having the Series X for the last 5 months, I do have to admit that it's almost impossible for gamers to go back to the 30 FPS games, especially me, and that's a problem if you want to go back and play a game you might have missed. Most gamers I know would instead opt to go play the game on PC, which would then have them leave the Xbox ecosystem in order to play the game. It's something that Xbox doesn't want people to do. Instead, if you own the game on Xbox, you will be able to toggle the FPS boost, which will keep people on the Xbox network. As for the software behind this improvement, you can tell that Xbox has put a lot of money forward for something like this. It says in the article that the developers of the game don't even need to be involved. Instead, they're asked for permission and then everything else is going to be handled on Microsoft's side. That's a huge resource and advantage that a lot of people didn't see coming when the next generation was kicking off. Yet now Xbox is able to take older games we own and are going to make them last longer because of these FPS boosts. It's big, and it's a next generation feature that can make the hardware of the consoles last even longer, which is something that the article mentions again right here. Next generation Xbox hardware has seen games targeting higher frame rates than ever before, with titles frequently hitting 60 FPS and 120 FPS. The higher the frame rate, the more frames outputted to your display each second, resulting in more fluid and responsive gameplay. But refreshing the outputted image more frequently asks more from the system, pushing intensive titles to compromise with lower frame rates. And this is where the GPU and the CPU of the Xbox Series X comes into play, because everyone talked about the power of the next generation consoles for so long. Most people focus on the SSD for the PS5, while Xbox and the engineers there talked about their GPU, CPU, and of course the RDNA 2 feature set. It looks like that hardware bump that both consoles have been seeing is being put to use here with some of these games. Because we have to remember, the Xbox One games that came out are still graphically impressive, especially games that were made with the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro in mind. Those GPUs are still pretty powerful and can get some great performance graphically. Yet the one thing holding everything back from a performance standpoint on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X was the CPU and the bottleneck it gave to developers. And it's something that the article mentions right here. While the Xbox One X hoped to deliver 4K resolution at 60 FPS, later years would expose several hardware limitations, with many graphically demanding releases settling at just 30 FPS. These games would be locked at fixed frame rates and software, meaning they won't see improvements on Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S under normal conditions. And that's why when the Xbox One X console came out, it was a pretty powerful piece of hardware on the graphical side, but it just didn't have the CPU power to put those graphics to even better use. The resolution was boosted and the graphic fidelity was top notch, yet again, the limitations from a hardware standpoint came from the CPU and then the hard drives. But now with this new feature and with the Xbox software team working like crazy to get the FPS boost out there, it would seem that it's going to be an easy transition for a lot of these games to get this type of boost in performance, something that the article points out right here. FPS Boost delivers a fast and easy way to bring higher frame rates to existing Xbox One games on next generation hardware without the additional development resources required for a formal Xbox Series XS optimized patch. It makes older titles automatically run smoother on the new systems, delivering a massive upgrade over standard backward compatibility. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, who wants to play older games? And I understand where you're coming from, but you have to realize that this isn't some 360 games or last generation games. This is Xbox One games that are only 2 or 3 years old. So you might have bought one of these games and just put it in your backlog and now you decided to play it. Well, now you can play those games with no problem, and not only that, but get a massive improvement in performance. And I'll name a few games that are getting these performance boosts to 60 to 120 FPS boosts. We have Battlefield 5, Dishonored, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Far Cry 4, Sniper Elite 4, Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, Skyrim, Titanfall 2, and Watch Dogs 2, and plenty of others that I didn't even name here. Some of these games are 120 FPS, but only on the Series X console because it requires a lot more hardware power to achieve that frame rate. Now, as someone with a Series X, I have to say I love these patches coming out because it shows that Xbox is not only investing in the next generation consoles, but they're trying to show that no matter what type of games you want to play, you'll be able to play it at the best performance on the Series X. It's almost at a PC level of optimization, which is something I've been asking from the console platforms for a very long time now. It makes no sense why we can't take our older games and upgrade them in performance on a much better piece of hardware like the Series X is. Every developer does it on the PC and unlocks the frames, graphic fidelity, and everything else gives gamers complete control of their game. And from the looks of it, that's exactly what Xbox is trying to do here, putting the control in the gamer's hands. If you want the FPS boost, it's right there for you, and it doesn't require any work on the developer side, which opens up more space for Xbox to work with. This is awesome, and I hope Xbox continues to do this because it's a massive advantage they have over the PS5 currently. And don't get me wrong, I hope Sony does something similar because I would love to play the games I own on the PS4 at 60 or 100 FPS. Because like I've said 100 times before, competition between those two companies only benefits us, the gamers. And that competition shows that with these type of features coming to Xbox, let's hope it continues and let's hope Sony has an answer for this because all we want to see is two companies giving gamers even more choice. But enough of what I think about all of this, tell me what you think about all of this. Will you go back and play some of these games? Can you go back to 30 FPS once you played at 60 FPS? Do you hope more games get this feature added? What game do you want to see get this boost? Will Sony's PlayStation 5 get a feature like this? Does this make you want to buy an Xbox Series X? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there. So get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also follow me on Xbox Live, my gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing and let's compete in achieves for the month. So right now I've been playing a lot of Outriders. I'm having such a good time with that game. I completed the campaign, I've been doing a bunch of expeditions, and I'm just trying to get all my combos and my builds right now. Me and my friend are playing together. One of them is a Technomancer and my other buddy is a Demolisher. So I'm a Trickster. We're just getting our builds together and getting combos down and trying to beat the best times on those expeditions, because that's what it is. It's a race against time, and the best time you get on your expeditions, the better loot you get. So we're having a lot of fun doing that. And after that, I'm gonna be playing Returnal. I know it's on the PS5. I want to play it. It's $70, but to me, the developers on Returnal are pretty talented. So I'm looking forward to their game. I want to play it. It looks insane, and I'm getting a lot of advertisements for it, so they know they're targeting me. So I'm gonna get that game, check it out, see how it is, and if I like it, hey, worth $70. If not, hey, we bit the bullet. It's okay. That's what we do. We get games and we play them. I wish Sony had something like Game Pass so I can try it out anytime, but that's just not in the cards right now. Hopefully they do something that actually competes with Game Pass, and so we can play these games and not worry about dropping $70. But let me know what you're playing. Are you playing something on your Xbox, your PS5? Are you waiting for Eternals, or are you playing Outriders? Go down below and let's talk about the games you're playing. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.